also with the strategic planning and coordination of energy activities in the sector with all ramifications. So we find it necessary that it is important at this point in time, in line with the power action. Energy is being wasted. The little 4,000 megawatts we have is being wasted. So we find it is necessary that we should bring it up in the form of creating awareness. The program is to go through the six geopolitical zones. We have started with many zones. I think this is the last zone because we have been in all the other zones. The aim here is to come here to let you know of what this program is all about. Because you are going to serve like ambassadors in this part of the program. You will now also, unless you don't need it, what will you do? Because if you go around, you will see street lights, midnight, midday is still working. It's not necessary. And these are energy you can save, which can be transferred to other people. Because the issue of the load shedding is because the amount is too small, so it should be shared. So people should get this something. So in a situation that some of these areas that are having light are using it rightly, it will still reduce the consumption rate at that particular area. Then it can be transferred to other places. So I am here representing Energy Commission, representing the Director General of the Energy Commission. Our own role here is to supervise because we feel that the present generation there's need for PPP, the private people should be involved in what we are doing. So we decide to look at those people that are best in organizing this type of things to organize on behalf of the Energy Commission. So please, we hope that at the end of the day you will help us to pass this message to the most expected people. The second segment is rally. Please, we also want you to help us because this generation or this present days we have security challenges. Please let us not go out when we are distributing these things, cause confusion and result in chaos or other issues. Let us behave because I have experience on the light. We are coming to stop. Somebody will tell you he has been paying bill up to today. There's no light. Why are we disturbing him? We are policy issues. The policy are good. It's just that development is up. The implementation of the policies are our problems. So please, we help you. We are appealing with you to help us. We should have.
He has said it all. It's all about energy. I was supposed to call the resource person immediately, but should I call you? They're installing it. You start with it. Okay. We just get information. They're installing the software that we're supposed to use for the projection, but she's insisting on coming. So for me, video now who she is. Her name is Patricia Monk, in Mechanical University of Mediterranean University, North Cyprus. Focus Energy. So she's not here to tell us what somebody told her what energy looks like. She focused on energy outside this country in a very good university. So she's here to teach us what she knows so well. You understand? So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
Thank you very much. He makes all that up somewhere. I don't understand what he said. I studied mechanical engineering actually. It's the best towards energy. And I'm sure if anybody here studied mechanical, we all have an idea of what energy or power is. And anybody who didn't, with the power situation in this country and everything that's been going on, we all have an idea of what we need and how this works. Okay, now we don't have a slideshow, and I had some pictures to show which would have made things easier, but they say they're going to fix it. So I'm going to make this as interactive as possible because I'm sure we all have ideas, and that's the great thing about having young people. Everybody has something to offer. There's things you see now, and then sometimes you notice things. And when you notice them, you don't think anybody, you think, well, if I notice, somebody else noticed. Sometimes you're the only one who notices these issues. And so, of course, what you notice, you can help us with today. Basically, my presentation is actually what is energy saving and what are options for energy saving. You've seen the rally today, the energy saving irons, the energy saving air conditioners, from your t-shirts, definitely, obviously, so I don't need to go into all that. First question is that I'll just start with what is energy? basically. And there's an analogy we used one time. There's energy and there's power. Sometimes we use them interchangeably, which works mostly. But if we would use, I would use a car. In the car you have an odometer and you have a speedometer, right? Odometer shows you your mileage. Speedometer shows you how fast you're going. Now now energy is your odometer, basically. It tells you how much power, how much energy you need, how much of the energy you need to do any sort of work, basically. So if I wanted to lift this, how much power would I need to lift this? Now power, on the other hand, is the speedometer. It tells me how fast I'm doing it, right? So that's basically the difference between energy and power. So there's actually a correlation. Power is the rate of doing the actual work, and energy is the amount of work you have to put in to get it done. These things happen, okay? So energy basically is everywhere. Right now we're using energy. It's lighting. This place is lit up. It lights our cities. We run our factories on it. Energy runs our vehicles because the fuel in the car is what converts into power. So it's the same thing. So the next question is, what are our basic energy needs? What do we need this energy for? For example, in our homes or on an everyday basis. Well, you need your street lights. You need the lights in your house. You need to watch your TV. You need to power your computer. You need to put on your refrigerator. Some of us use electric cookers. So there's actually a lot of energy that we need. Spending money on energy all the time, practically every day, right? So the question is, how much of this energy do you really need? And that's what we're talking about. How much? You're using energy every day, and you think you need so much, but how much of it is actual energy you need, and how much of it is what you're wasting? So basically, if I had pictures, and then I'd like to show you. There's pictures of, you think about it, how many times have you left your TV on and gone out? Or you left your computer plugged in, or you left your TV. And most of the time we leave our TVs plugged in. We don't unplug things, we don't switch off the sockets. When you don't switch off, actually, most appliances pull the same amount of power as when they're on. So sometimes when you don't unplug something, it's the same as leaving the TV on and just going out. You have lights on and you're not using them. We actually, like right now, we have lights on in the afternoon. This is a good example of how we waste power. We don't really necessarily need the lights. Nobody's writing anything. We're not planning to do anything with the lights, but they're on. And this is how most of us live. We all have lights on in the afternoon. Many of us have our security lights on 24/7. Is there anybody that's like that here? Some of you right here, sitting right now, there's something on at home that doesn't need to be on. Actually, think about it. So that's power you're using. You're here, you don't need it, but you're using it. And so somebody else somewhere can't get that power because you're using it on something that's unnecessary. And it's the basic problem we all have. So if you calculate how much power we're using, if you think about all this power that you use every day, the power that you waste, your air conditioning that you leave on. I don't know about here in Port Harcourt, but I know I have some friends who live. I have a friend who lives in Bonny, for example. I'll take him as an example, which I shouldn't do, but I will. He talks about how they have lights all the time. So he doesn't switch off anything in his house. He leaves his air conditioning and goes to work. He says he's not going to get spoiled because he's going to go to work and come back and there will be light. So the air conditioning is on, the light is on. If he feels like he leaves the TV on. And so he's running this power, and it's cheap. That's another thing. It's really cheap. But now, what's new in Nigeria is that the prices are going up. Your power is going to cost you a lot more than you think. And now, many people don't understand. I don't know, I'm not sure about PH, but do we all have the digital meters now? The pay-as-you-go? Not everybody has it yet. Really? Okay, you do have it. That's cool. With the new meters, right? You pay as you go.
We don't like it.
Yeah. You're paying for what you're using.
I don't like it.
You're actually paying for what you're using. That's what happens.
It's cheating.
It's not cheating.
They're cheating us.
How are they cheating you? I'd like to answer that. How are you being cheated?
With our credits, we don't have lights.
Okay,
they are still collecting the money.
no, they're not collecting. No. Once there's no light, your meter goes off. So that doesn't constitute using your power. The good thing about it
Yeah,
is
but
that
it's too expensive.
it is.
It runs like
Yeah, but that.
I can't use my air conditioner all the time.
Do you need your air conditioner all the time, sir?
Saturday, Sunday, and it don't come soon.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? When you switch on your air conditioning, how do you switch it on throughout the day?
Yeah, it runs baby.
So you never have to switch it off.
Yeah, because I need to place it cozy.
Oh. Do you need to wear more clothes because your air conditioning is on? Do you wear like a sweater or you use a duvet or something because your air conditioning is on all day?
Sorry?
Do you have to cover, like
No,
maybe
I don't cover.
Okay, maybe you're different. Because most of us, what happens is that when the
Yeah.
yeah, of course. So it means you're getting colder. For some of us, what we do is we keep switching on and switching off. You switch on, it gets too cold, you switch off.
Yeah.
Switch on. That means you don't need it. Now, what they have things called thermostats.
Yeah.
A thermostat is basically, I think that's one actually. You can set temperature, but this is not one of the ones that works the way it's supposed to work. You can set the temperature you want. Average human temperature that's comfortable is about between 24 and 27 degrees, depending on on how your body type. Now you do that, and what the thermostat does for you is that when it switches, when your air conditioning comes on and it comes to the comfortable level, say you set it for 26 degrees. Once it's 26 degrees, your air conditioning goes off. And it stays off until maybe the temperature goes up to 28, then it comes back on. So what you do is you have cycles. It comes on, it goes off, so you don't have it on throughout.
But to save the energy at the time.
It does save the energy because your air conditioning is not on for, as opposed to 12 hours, it might be on for say 6 or 7, which is a saving if you think about it. Now with the tariffs going up, the light tariffs, you have the power tariffs now, they've gone up, and they're going up again this year.
So, whenever I plugged on, I don't turn it off. So,
Yeah.
and we don't turn it up, right?
Yeah.
The energy is still running.
Running, yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what I
The last time you told us that you will have the switches on
Yes.
and the energy is still
Yes.
running. Now you have the air conditioner on and the thermostat. The thermostat now stopping the switch from working.
Well, it's more than if it was running.
So,
See, that's what I'm saying. I said some appliances will take the same amount of energy plugged in and not working. Some appliances. Now with air conditioners, they pull a lot of power. Now the only power you use is the power coming from the switch, the power that's just running, idling the system at that time.
that power is not commensurate to when the air
When it switches.
Okay, now I just want to make a contribution.
Okay.
Do you want to finish before the questions come, or do you want them to keep asking like this?
Well, some people, I think maybe more interactive.
She said
Prefer it like this.
Yeah, I think more interactive.
Interactive means we can interject, right?
No, I just wanted to find out because
Use that, let me use it like that, 50% of power. In conservation, you would sacrifice your comfort to use 30%. Now, what you would do in efficiency is that you would find a way to make that 50% maybe 40. A way to use it more efficiently so that you don't have to use all the 50, as opposed to just sacrificing your comfort and using 30. Alright, so, but often we say, like, for example, this man has the pay-as-you-go, and he has the money to pay for it. He has the money. If he wants to leave his air conditioning on all day, he doesn't care. He has the money. So we often say, well, I can afford it. That's what some people say. I can afford not to pay, especially when we had the meters that just ran. The electricity was cheap, so we thought, why put up my air conditioning? If it's on all day, I can afford to pay the bill. That was what we often thought. But see, unfortunately, when you leave your air conditioning all day, we all know about load shedding. Yeah. So what happens is, for example, if there's lights if we have a business district and we have a residential area, during the day, they take light from the residential area and give it to the business district. And then at night, they take it from the business district, assuming everybody's gone to work, and then take it back, give it back to the residential area. Now what happens when you overuse your quota, let's say, of electricity, is that somebody else doesn't get enough power. Now PHCN has said we have Now they say we produce like we're at about 4,000 megawatts. I spoke to someone at PHCN and he told me we have an installed capacity of 6,000. Now you have to be careful with the words they use. When someone tells you something is installed, it doesn't necessarily mean it's working, right? So I can install, for example, this is installed and it's not working. That's a very good example. So it's installed but it's not working. So when you're told that we have installed 6,000 megawatts, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're having 6,000 megawatts. You have to take this. Now, apart from installed capacity, if say we have installed 6,000, be nice and say 50%, right? That's 2,000 megawatts that everybody has to use. You can't be selfish. You can't afford to be selfish. You have to save energy from one area. You have to save energy so somebody else can have it. Now, there are things being put in place. And in River State, I've heard that we're using between 378 and 400 megawatts. So if you're using between 378 and 400, it's actually talking about providing about 700 megawatts for everybody. But what I'm saying is between 378 and 400, it's what you have that you're using. So you might actually need more than that. So these are some of the reasons why we need to save, because what we have is not enough. There are plans to increase the number of megawatts, but those plans will take time. And they will also take a toll on the environment, which is another thing that we haven't considered. All of this energy you're using, it has an effect on the environment. You have, basically, you have a glass house. No, greenhouses are actually glass houses. You have, what people do is they put plants in these glass houses so that during winter, the plants don't die. But because it's glass, if you put glass in the sun, you know it gets very hot. So what it does is, it's a glass house effect in that you're in a glass house and as the sun is hitting that surface, it's heating up the atmosphere inside that house. And there's nowhere for it to escape because it's glass. And that's the effect we're having on the earth right now. We know, I don't know how, well, we're all pretty much above teenagers, so we know that the average on these, and you can switch it off, everything goes off at one time. So it saves you time. It doesn't, you don't forget as easily as other people. And another thing is the thermostats I was talking about, using thermostats. Now, thermostats are not very popular in Nigeria, really. But there are some air conditioners that do come with some sort of energy saving device. They come on, they go off. They actually already have air conditioners that have these things inbuilt. But another thing you have to think about is price. Because basically, most people use power based on their purchasing power. So if you have more money, you use more appliances, and so you use more power. So, but the thing is, it means that the more money you have, the more responsibility you have to save energy. So that's something we don't have to think about. Now, I'm going to talk about using active and passive energy methods, energy saving methods. They're things that we don't have yet. I don't know, and those are called passive solar saving methods, energy saving methods. You actually have methods now that you don't have to do anything. It's just the way you build your house. It's the kind of windows you install that help you save energy one way or the other. So these are some of the things that we should be looking at in the future. And the future is not far away. The future could be tomorrow. Some of them think that, well, they're doing that in America and they're doing that. No, they're doing it. I have examples. There's a city in Colombia called Bogota, and it was one mayor who rose up and said, okay, we want to make a green city. And they don't have, lots of that city is a slum, but still it's becoming green. In Uganda, the capital city, Kampala, is becoming green. It's just creating more green areas, taking certain things off the streets that will cause more pollution. It's actually small steps. Some of them have plans to as far as 2050, but they're working on something. So it's small steps. Just take one step at a time, and then we can all get to a place where there's energy enough for everybody. So I have some quick tips on how to save energy. Well, I've already said most of these things. You use natural light whenever it's possible in the building. If you don't need the lights, they should be off. Just that simple. Replace your incandescent bulbs with the energy-saving bulbs. Use shading devices. Something else that works is shading your windows. If you have air conditioning and you leave your windows open and the sun is right directly in the room, it doesn't get as cold as it should get. When you can shade your windows, sometimes it helps because the air conditioner works better. Like for example, you shouldn't be doing this. Our door shouldn't be open with the air conditioner working. This doesn't make the air conditioning effective. It's actually wrong. So these are some of the things. But we do them all the time. We don't think about them. You have your air conditioning on, doors are open, some windows are half open. So it cuts down the efficiency of what you're trying to do and makes you use more energy than you actually need. Something else that people do is using motion sensors. For example, if you have an office and you have like this corridor, for example, people don't go past it very often. You can have a very small light, like a small like exit light, so people can actually see when they walk in. But you can put motion sensors. Motion sensors are very cheap. They're just tiny chips, and you put motion sensors when somebody walks past, it senses the person and it switches on the light. Once the person is gone, the light is off again. So the person doesn't even have to touch anything. As you're walking, the lights come on and go up, come on and go up. And so you can see where you're going, but the lights stay off when you're gone. Now another thing we don't really do in Nigeria is insulation, but it's something that's very important, especially for places that are always air conditioned. To put insulation in your walls, seal your windows. Make sure that your windows are well installed, because if the windows are not well installed, you keep losing power from inside. Now something else is water heaters. I don't know how many of us have water heaters at home. Okay, cool. But if you have a water heater and you touch it and you realize that it's hot to your touch, it means you're losing power from there. And heating is something that takes a lot of energy. Heating and air conditioning, those are the two major things that take energy. If you use a water heater and you can touch it and feel, yeah, it does take a lot of energy too. So if you use less power. Now, basically, that's practically all we were going to do today. I would have loved to show you pictures, but yeah, that's the very sad part of it. Visuals would have made it a lot better, because you would have been able to see a few cities who are changing things. Bangkok, in Thailand, they've been working on their environment and cutting down on certain things to make the city a lot greener. So it would have been something interesting to see. I don't know if that's going to be possible still. But if anybody has any questions, anything they'd like to add. Now, see, something else I'd like us to do is that I know some of us have noticed other ways that we're wasting or not using energy efficiently. So if you have any ways that you'd like to add, just so that everybody can learn. That's
220.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that the whole of how the whole of our consumption gadgets.
No, well, we do have a lot of gadgets. The US has, because what happens is it's just the way the pie is transmitted that makes that happen. It doesn't really affect the amount. If you save energy, it won't change anything. It won't make you any different from an American who's saving energy. It won't. It's about the same thing. Yes.
I've been talking about it again.
Yeah.
This program I do. Go back and go to China. This program will be this. We like her. We work with her. But we don't know whether some issues we will discuss here. We will manage to reach the what do they call them? DHL. Yeah.
Okay.
You will reach them.
Yeah, we have an ACN
representative here. Number one, we say, you know go fit preserve what you look at. Abi?
Yeah.
Saving energy, preserve energy, cut low usage and everything. Means say you get her.
Yeah.
If you don't get her, you don't go fit save her. You know say even to switch all this thing on. Leave her come on because you know say light no will come, so you don't get hope.
We don't have light in Nigeria.
This is me the state. My own place, if I'm a village, I stay for village. My village, you don't reach Don't they go almost 2 years? We never see like, oh, we are self in power. We empower ourselves. The only problem is to someone go do program about noise pollution. Make noise fast. So you find out that you only use what you know you can afford. That which you empower yourself. So what I'm saying in the essence is that we really have to look into the issue of power itself. Because if this power is there and you know this thing comes, you will not know how to regulate.
Okay, but you said something very interesting. You said because you're using your gen, you're a lot more careful about how you use power.
Because you
this is what I'm saying. But if you were not using your gen, how careful would you be?
One and careful. Because you don't want your appliances to blow or get spoiled. But my sister, you wait till the top is one, like what you said about this energy saving and non-energy saving, let me just come down. Just like what I was saying about power generation. We can now, like in fact, it's important to only Bogia. Okay, now. Just look. So what I'm trying to say
about 4,000. Sometimes they say 4, sometimes they say 5, as high as 6. That 6 is the highest I've heard, but they're planning 10,000 in maybe 2015 or so. So we're not there yet until we get there before we know what happens. But the thing is, for the people who do have light, it's not enough. So what we're saying is, don't use more than your fair share. That's basically what we're saying. Use a little so that somebody else has a little to use. Now, maybe you not have light for 2 years, which might not even be a power. It might be an issue of transformer, there's many kinds of issues with power these days. But if it's an issue of load shedding, oftentimes somebody else is using the power that you should be using. They're using it on nothing. That's why we're saying please save. Because if you save, somebody else has something. It's just if you have a loaf of bread and you're cutting it up in 10 slices, and there are actually 15 people to eat it, and the 10 people eat some and they say it's too much, they throw it away. It means the other 5 people don't get anything at all, unless they want to scramble for crumbs, which might not be possible. So what we're saying is we do have some power. It's not enough. But please use it judiciously so that when they want to do the load shedding, it's possible to give some other areas which might not have had light for a few more hours. That's what we're saying. Now, talking about going green, going green is it's very necessary because the impact of all the things we do, our cars, our factories, the impact on the environment is very, very serious. There were not this many earthquakes and things when we were growing up, but it's like every time you turn on the TV these days, there's something happening in the weather. All these, well, not really surprised. The last tsunami that came was on the African coast. Some of the African countries were affected. The really large tsunami, I think that time was Japan as well as Indonesia. We had it in Africa. You might not, in Nigeria we're blessed. We've not had any of those problems. But I don't know if you remember that there was a flooding last year in Lagos that killed lots of people. Why is it raining now? You have rain sometimes as acid rain. We're beginning to have acid rain in Nigeria. We had smog a few years ago. There was smog in Lagos. Yeah. So all these things they're making life unbearable for people. Now, if you're comfortable enough in your house, you might not feel the effects immediately. But believe me, after a while, you will suffer the effects yourself too. And if you don't suffer the effects, your children will. It's just that simple. The people who came before us were, I would say, a bit selfish. They didn't think about all these things. You have some green areas that have been turned into houses. These were supposed to be green areas. Now, if you drive through any city that has a green area, you will notice that the temperature around the green area is different. In Abuja, you notice this, and now, unfortunately, some of those green areas are being converted into huge plots. But when you drive past any area that's undeveloped, the air there is different from the air a few minutes after. It's unbelievable, but it is. It wasn't that way. So imagine if you have green areas around your city. The effect will be very far-reaching because these green areas will help. Now, apart from that, the real issue too is also reducing these emissions. We need to reduce the amount of emission. The emission from our cars, the emission from all these gadgets and things that we use. Now, for example, cars with the CO2 and all this and the exhaust from it. What we need is the more efficient transport system, which is something that the government should actually provide for the people. Because if you have a more efficient transport system, many people will not use their cars. I've never been here.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you. Okay. Please.
Everybody wants to show his car.
Let's bring it down. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Explanations, we're getting there. But there is this thing about us. I still say, when I say, I refer back to my brother, and when I look at this Energy Commission, sorry, I don't know much about the Energy Commission of Nigeria and how forceful, or do I say, impact they have in our government. Because you find out that it's like the environmental, what do they call it? They are not really putting one or two things they are supposed to be putting in place in order for us to know the implications of all this hazardous environment we find ourselves. So now, I just want to know, if possible, how well can the Commission project the idea or impact the idea into our society, so that we now, who are the society now, we know the importance and the implications of this environment we find ourselves. Because I know one thing about us here in Nigeria, that we like things when we are being pushed to do them.
Yeah. Right.
Because now, if we now say teach all this, teach people, like whether I like it or not, our street lights, our security lights will still be on until there is a thing like a task force, that says if you see your security light being on in the day, you will be arrested, or this or that will be slapped on you. You find out that even by 7 o'clock, the street light will not be on. They will wait until the appointed time. They want to be sure that the first person on fire will join. So I don't know how far. Okay, sir. Please, I want to know how forceful or how strong is our Energy Commission in implying all this our theory to our society. Thank you, sir.
I'm just an observer here. But actually, your two appearances contribute a lot to what we are here for. You have asked questions that touch everybody's mind. The simple fact is the issue of governance, the issue of leadership. Energy Commission of Nigeria is an organ of government that has the mandate and responsibility on providing policies that are good to ensure that all energy issues are being either utilized in a more sustainable manner. But the other issue is, are those policies now being enacted into law? We draft our first national energy policy since 1995. It has been with government up to 2000. The government now set a committee and said we should review again. That since it is from 19something, we have entered another decade, we should review. We reviewed it. This government did not say anything again. Another government comes until 2003. Obasanjo that time said, okay, the policy is good. It should go for utilization. And the next issue, when the policy is approved by government, now it's left for the government again to enact that policy into law, so that you'll be able to implement it. As of today, the policies are not enacted into law. These are some of the weaknesses we are having in the work. Secondly, there's also issue of synergy in work. We should have been working like with power holding companies, national director of this environmental and whatsoever, so that at the end of the day, we will have a common and serve to the common people. But things are not done like that. NEPA are doing their own. We are custodian of projection. We have been telling the NEPA for long that we are even below suppressed demand. This is our actual demand, and this is what we want. But if you look at the history of power generation in Nigeria, from so-called 60s and 70s that all these hydropowers are done, there's no any increment up to today. South Africa today is just about 8 million. They are having 45,000 megawatts or 44,000 megawatts. And in their policies now, they are projecting in the next 10 to 15 years, they should go for 88,000 megawatts. Power generation is not done in a day. It is something that you will focus it in future, next 10, 20 years. And these are things that the country should also be focusing. In China today, every week, they are adding 1,000 megawatts because they are focused. Every week they are adding 1,000 megawatts into the system because these are things that they did maybe 20 years now. Results are coming. Some of these power stations will take you 5 years before it comes on board. Some of this you have to go and do business study, get the potential before you go to even manufacturer to produce so that it will go with this thing. The aim of this energy saving, we are aware that majority of Nigerians are not having access to energy or power. But the simple fact is, since the system is the wealthy people are, or the wealthy environment or so-called environment are getting the market. Because we have 160 million people as of today. So money, it's not possible. So the government is trying to bring this issue of prepaid. Because if you look at it now, in the olden days when this GSM come, flashing and text take the highest of law. If there is no law, you cannot apply. By the time I take you to court, let me give you one instance. In the UK, a woman bought a dog, and the dog somehow either sick or something, keep on back to the court through the night. Our neighbor now take her to court. Or allow her not to sleep for that night. Now the court has judged the neighbor to pay compensation on that. If you go to America, somebody will tell you that Americans are good. It is not good. They are the wicked people. The simple issue is law has made them to be good. If you see a car coming with 200 speed per kilometer, you put your hand and begin to walk out like this. Let him touch you. All his savings in the world will finish. It is not you that will tell him to stop. But here in Nigeria, you will see somebody, you even do like this, I beg me, I pass. At that time, he will begin to fire his motor. So the whole issue is law. Because if you hear somebody in America now today,
See, the problem we have most of us is ignorance. Due to your ignorance, there is a law, there is law, there are existing laws as regards that. Most of us are ignorant of what is going on because we don't even read. Look at a seminar like this. How many persons are in jail? We are not interested in doing these things. We don't like partaking. Otherwise, there are laws. When it comes to noise pollution, there are laws for that. And there are cases, a lot of cases you can refer to reference cases. But we don't have the habit of communicating or interacting to find out how the problem we are facing. It's your problem, it's my problem. So let him finish talking.
we are at the point. Something that with prominent people inside the level of honorable members. It's too bad, but it's our attitude we need to change. That's why it's not a lie, but we should. Yes, I agree with you. But I think that we should do things right. Like now, since we know like that, if you are traveling, you should go to the genuine.
On the issue of availability of energy saving equipment, so if we don't have them, all these things we are talking about, by the time they come and replace the existing ones, I think we will have option. than to buy them. No, it will be just like that, the LED, LCD, and tube
It's a little contradiction. You talked about the greenhouse effect. And we know that the greenhouse effect is not just energy that is causing it.
Yeah.
Because for now, if you have lights available, some pollutions won't be there. Now, if you see some generators we use these days, some of them you feel like breaking the head of the owner. Or in fact, killing the producer of that generator.
Don't go to my village, though.
Because the gas, there was a time I was saying that Ajib, I was passing the street, the whole street was black, foggy. It was coming out from a man's gen.
And he was enjoying it.
It was, and the man, the exhaust pipe was outside in the street, and the whole place was foggy. And being asthmatic, I had to puff more than 600 milligrams of my inhaler just to go from that place to my house. Because if we continue, if the NEPA should give us light regularly, I don't think, at least we only have to deal with this big tanker or these big cars that are emitting gas. Those are the ones we have to deal with. But when they don't give us light, so like you said, the power is not available even, and we have to share, and so we have to conserve. And just like a guy said, he said you have to conserve what you have. If you go to Bonny now, I don't know some of us who have been to Bonny. They use their card. They have light. And you know how you manage your light when the power is there. And you don't even see generators on that much. And if you go to Bonny now, look at the environment there. You only know that the only thing you're suffering there is Ajib and
The best thing, you just sensitize us on this issue, yes. But if you leave me alone, I might go out there to the street. In fact, Match State Government House now, look at it, trying to make a meeting to hear my voice. But if I don't have your support, they will call me militant, tout, hoodlum, whatever you like. So why not the commission think about organizing a very peaceful rally? Or do I say, I don't know how, what I will use, campaign. 1 million man, my brother. That will make Port Harcourt series of this lecture. And then not just making Port Harcourt series of this lecture, we having on this match will create an importance for this commission to have a meeting with the government of the day. I believe with that, this commission will pass our mind to the government, and then the government will look up to the same people they are governing on the streets what they want. I believe with that we start doing something.
Just to echo what she has said, the government, you said you are a arm of government. Yes. So we have to start from the top. I remember some years back, 93 or thereabout, when they came up with the issue of paying tax on your television and everything. It was boiled down to, the onus was shifted down to the common man, the plebeian. The rich men were not paying. They were not even up to, penetrate their gates. So the government have to start somewhere. I met you when you were talking about this emission of the thing, like cars, if you need the number of cars that should apply the route also. Government should start it. I was thinking of that also. Like we have so many workers in government, parastatal and all the rest. They should provide vehicle. Same whether you are a manager, all the managers, there should be a route fixed for them. If you miss that vehicle, you miss it. If you go to government or if you go to secretariat, you see a lot of cars. Some come with, in fact, their wives come with cars, their children, everybody, virtually, to show their progress or whatever. But the government should start with their own way to reduce, to bring up buses for their staff, so that nobody should come to car with working place, and also come up with the law under the companies, so that they should tell their staff not to come with their private cars. That's number one. Secondly, she also touched the area of prepaid meters. I think that one will reduce it drastically to its barest minimum. When I go to battles and all these things, they have to use this kind of prepaid stuff. Sometimes when I'm passing there, I will be surprised that when I enter house, that's when I know that there is light. Everybody is minimizing their cost now. They manage it very effectively, that even when you will not know that there is light until when you enter. Even they reduce the volume of their music to a very low standard. Why? They don't want to spend much money because they are prepaying for the DC. So the government should come with a prepaid card also, so that everybody will know how to manage its energy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I represent River State Youth Leaders Forum. I'm the Secretary General. Here is my President General. I think we could come in conjunction with the Commission and get a whole large number of people to come to the streets. And we now go for sensitization on this program. It's a very wonderful and welcome idea.
The Energy Commission of Nigeria. My proposal is this: to have us there your commission set up a committee or a task force so that energy usages can be monitored in either way. I could remember some good old days when Solukido was the governor of River State. 6 o'clock in the morning, the security light is switched off. 6 in the evening, it's switched on. It can still reoccur if the policies. It was done then. There were so many persons were arrested. My elder brother was arrested then. Remember, he was arrested. Because when they came, nobody was in the house. He was the only one in the house. And I was arrested for that. So these things can come up with these policies. You tell the people these are some of our suggestions to you. Thank you very much.
That's why we are doing these sport rallies with short number of people. We will report back. Our aim is what you are trying to say. Because now if we just go out and say we want to do a big rally, and at the end of the day, along the rally, somebody was angry with the government or something. My boss will be the person to be sacked. Yeah. I know. I have confidence in you. So, what we are trying to do is with this, we are voting back as the people's voice at this. Like now, if you see, one of the things that my chief executive will first see is the video audition, to see what are the people's reaction towards this type of things. Then we can now put a big proposal to the government. Like the issue of this slum, we were able to have 1 million. But if you look at 1 million in Nigeria, it's nothing. So we were able to select some estates, especially in Abuja. You know, we are trying to do this, try to carry people in Abuja, otherwise we will fail. So we have tried that one, and we are now putting a proposal again. If government can oblige to bring it up again. This rallies, this workshop is within the limited money we have. We will now put it again up, say, okay, see, we'll go to this place, these are what all people are saying, this concept is good, help us. So we'll do that. And we pray that also...
And I saw some tips, if you want to save energy while driving your vehicle and all that. You know, I was going through it, sorry, my name is West Biofo Joshua. And I was trying to see hold up and fault holes. I did not say anything like that. You see, if you want to save energy in your car, there's something we fail to realize. If there is hold up on the road, you tend to use more fuel. So I think the next leaflet or whatever that yes, that's one. 2, if the road is bad as a result of gallop on our express emergency gallop, that's what I call them, you use more fuel. You know, and because you tend to be revving your car, boom, 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 you burn gas. And also, while you were talking, when I came in, I heard you talking about power saving bulb and all that. You know, there's something that someone told me, said, this thing is dangerous, that if it explodes or if it breaks or something, it gives out this mercury. Yes, and it is. So if you are telling us to use this light, then you should also tell us the effects. You know, if this thing happens, do like this. If not, you're going to get hot and all that. So I think we should just add those two.
Yeah, because we are there. The issue of the mercury, the first production, after the first generation research, is with a high number of mercury inside. But this recent generation production, research has made it in such a way the percentage of the mercury inside now is very, very little. And in such a time, maybe if you are disposing a large quantity of them, that's why the effect will come. And that's why there should be a law for disposal of all these things. When we go around to move those 100, what you call it, incandescent, we didn't want to go and destroy it because we must bit of the implication of the environmental issue. We have to apply for, what do you call it, the environment people to come and help us dispose this. But the unfortunate part of some of these things is, this is government telling we have removed this thing, give us experts to go and dispose. But the same people will tell you, okay, for disposal of this thing, you have to bring 2 million, 3 million before our staff go and do this. These are some of the problems. So some people will just say, why should I pay another 1 million? They will abandon it or destroy it the way it is. So issue of law. You can hear in history, there was a time some containers, people are bringing some waste products from company outside. Yes, and come and dispose it on our high sea. Those companies are paying heavily because they cannot meet the requirement of disposal over there. So they have no choice than to look for greedy countries and send them to product countries or business countries.
Alright. Is there a contribution?
I want to thank you, Renegas, for this program. But I want to say something. I actually expected the kind of representation of several media houses for such a big occasion like this. Because even while we are looking for the kind of convocation of whether ordinary naturally to different government partners, it's not everybody, everybody that will be available. Thank God for the kind of progress some of us have today. Even some of our brothers who are in their villages, they could at least hear the delayed transmission of this kind of program over the radio, some over the TV, different transmission by different TV houses, by 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So maybe doing subsequent meetings like this or workshops, I'd like that we have presentation of different media houses at least, because this one now it most likely goes to your boss first, and many people will not have access to it. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you. This is the reason I'm happiest, because everybody has something to add. So it means that we've all been thinking about some of these things. We just haven't had forums to articulate these thoughts. So the whole point of this is there's something you can do. It might be minute, it might seem like it doesn't really make any difference, but what you can do, please do it. That's all we're trying to say. Whatever you can save, however you can save, please do it. Your little counts. And that's the whole point of this. So if you can save only 1,000 watts, if you can save 200, if you can save 5, whatever it is, please just do that. And as we do this together, it will make a difference.
My people is coming. We don't hear her in our country. Our sister, she bring good news for us. The two way she may be saying, anyhow me and you, we go fit do to at least preserve this energy, no matter how small, how big. Make a try. The energy will return. Now this power, what would they use? See light. They say if you leave and make it run anyhow, you go destroy. In fact, you go spoil this our country for us. And this our country, none of us get them. We know we really make destroy. As they come out here, tell your neighbor, tell your map of village. In fact, if you're your landlord, make sure you hear this story. As we do so, Nigeria go better for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.